Now what I want to show with you is, how do you create the conditions to lead effectively so you can decrease the probability of getting fired? It might happen, but at least you can do it with what you'll know you'll have chosen that. How do you accelerate results? How do you bring people together with discipline? Now, this is the important thing about community engagement. Now I'm talking about community engagement from the folks in the community to all stakeholders. And here's the problem. Most of us are not holding a discipline that allows us to be able to bring people together and manage all that energy. And here's the example that I use. Imagine a coach who can't articulate the offense and defense that they want the players to execute. You may have some talented players, so sometimes some good stuff will just happen, right? The talented players, so sometimes they just go out there and they just do some stuff. Most of the time, though, they're not going to be maximally effective. Well, that's what happens in our sector. We just call people together and say, well, what do we want to do? And we think facilitation is simply doing an agenda, having some flip charts in the room, and starting a conversation, and possibly hiring a consultant, which I think is one of the worst things you can do to start. That's not discipline, folks. And the bigger problem is, for all of our university experience, we actually didn't learn how to bring discipline to the work. You learn theories of leadership at best. So many folks who show up to the work then haven't developed their leadership voice. They don't even know what they care about. How can you lead people if you don't even know what your voice is? If you don't even know your point of view? It's pretty hard just to show up in a room and start talking about what do you want to do. That can go anywhere, right? But how do you inspire and ignite? The person, role, and system will help you, but ultimately you've got to have a leadership voice and a leadership point of view that matters. You also got to be able to start calling out a discipline that you have mastered and you can make work. I'm going to show you how to use the discipline of results-based accountability, woven in with collective impact, woven in with some organizational development stuff, woven in with some change management stuff, but it's my system. Does that make sense? And the reason why a system is essential is because if you can't express the system and build in the redundancy, people start doing all sorts of stuff. Your staffs go out and you're trying to provide technical assistance and you're coaching the community one way. You go out and then you switch her way and do it your way, and then you do it your way. And before you know it, the community is like, will you please make your mind up? What do you want me to do? And none of it was wrong. It was just not a system. So what I want you to think about is, what is your system that you can create that is flexible enough that when you bring people together, you are a master coach. You can move them where you want them to go. Now, here's how you do that. Collective impact, results-based accountability, and all that stuff, it's great, but it should run in the background. It is not the thing. So you don't need to keep going out and saying, we're doing a collective impact initiative. We're going to go out and do results-based accountability. You know what? I learned the latest new snake oil. Here's what we're going to do today. No. The only thing you need to be saying is, here's the result we're going to achieve. And in the background, you've got all these tools in your tool belt that you can use to get a group to perform. Does that make sense? You need to stop amplifying the frameworks, amplify the result framework. And then as a leader, your job is to align contribution. Amplify the results framework, which I'm going to show you how to build, and align contribution. That's your job. It is not to try to give people a graduate course on collective impact. I believe if you're a good coach, you don't need to give people training on this stuff. You model it through your leadership. Does that make sense? Adult learners don't learn well anyway going to conferences. That's not how they learn. That's what the evidence says. So if I really want you to learn how to do something, adult learners are experiential. And they learn when they have a problem to solve. So if I really want you to learn something, my job as a leader in an organization has to be to make the time to coach, to be redundant, to reinforce, to continuously explain the why. Not keep sending you to all these conferences where you've got all these binders stacked up in your office and can't operationalize them.